welcome to session 3 of production management, OMI 302. Today we will look at quality management. Now, who doesn't like quality stuff? So it is apparent for every organization to ensure that whatever they churn out is of good quality. Now, how do we even determine whether something is of good quality or not? So in this session, we would want to understand what quality is, how to manage quality, how do we even measure quality. Now, who even defines quality? Who determines what is of good quality and what is of bad quality? Now, these are some of the objectives I personally set out for this lesson. So I hope you will enjoy it. Now, so take let's say 10 seconds and read this quote by one prominent propounders in the area of quality management. He really contributed so much. He is Edward Deming. He says, "The customer is the most important part of the production line. Quality should aim at the needs of the customer, present and future." So I would want you to kind of think about this quote and make sense of it and see what he's trying to say. Now, sometimes they can be cranky. It may sometimes seem like they expect too much, but they do provide our paychecks and our benefits, such as sick leave, maternity leave, health insurance, and 3 weeks of paid vacation each year. Vacation time each year, sorry. And what about all the new equipment we've been getting lately? They pay for that too, and a lot more. So the next time you see them, give them a great big smile and show how much you appreciate them, our customers. And so we want to look at these. I think this is just a preamble to what we should give you a fair idea of who defines quality, what we're going to consider as quality, and how we're going to assess quality. Now, it says that quality should aim at the needs of the customer, present and future. Is it kind of saying we should aim at the needs of present customers and future customers, or the present needs of the customer and then the future needs of the customer? So take note of that. We'll answer that as we go ahead. Now, it says that quality cannot be overlooked or underestimated in any firm in today's global business environment. So that's what I was saying. Who doesn't like the quality stuff? Why would you tag some phones as, in quote, China phones? And why would you consider some as maybe coming from some part of the world, so you consider them as, original? It's just for some reason, isn't it, that you brand some items as good quality, whereas you brand others as, not of good quality. Well, it's relative anyway. Now, we say that quality is cited by CEOs and business leaders as the most important factor in the long-term profitability and success of their firms. And so, you see, this is not coming from me or some literature, but this is from the business perspective, so industry. A lot of organizations, owners of businesses are saying that, now, if we are looking at long-term profitability and growth and sustenance of our business, success in general, then we should be considering quality. So quality is a pertinent issue in any business, whether it's a product or whether they produce goods or it's a service-oriented organization. Now, globalization and foreign competition began to change the business environment in the 1970s. So you see, businesses wanting to go beyond their geographical boundaries and wanting to do business in other places have all made the issue of quality more pertinent. There are a lot of issues of, let's come to the Ghanaian case. Lots of Ghanaian organizations would not find it easy getting into some EU market or some European or the American markets. Why? I think the answer is obvious. No, because there are certain standards their products do not meet. And what are those standards? In quote, quality standards. Now, so the Japanese achieved enhanced product quality by adapting many of the principles of quality management originally developed in the US. So just a little history, that the idea of quality management originally began in the US from the guy who made the quote we started, Edward Deming. But for some reason, if you read the story behind it, it was quite interesting. The US and the UK, so those were countries that were relatively self-sufficient after the Second World War, and a lot of things they produced actually was patronized, and so they really didn't seem bothered too much about quality. And so Deming, was poached by our Japanese friends, and he went there and really established the quality focus, quality management philosophies there. And so a lot of the time you would read books or literature that gives the impression that quality actually emanated from Japan. But the idea was actually the preponderance was actually from US anyway. But very awesome history about quality management. You could take some time. It's in the handout and the workbook for you guys. You can just take some time and read it, and you really love. So now let's understand what quality means, or we say the meaning of quality. So quality could be defined in several ways. Now, because one, in the first place, quality is a relative term. What is quality to someone may not necessarily be quality to another person, right? A Mark and Spencer shirt could be of a good quality to someone, but someone will consider Dolce & Gabbana and say that, well, I prefer that one. And so quality is a very subjective sense. But there's one definition that I really admire by Stevenson. And he summarizes all the ideas of what quality is by saying that quality is the ability of a good or a service to consistently meet or exceed expectations of customers. And so look at the word consistently meet or exceed. So if it means that quality, one, is unending. What is quality today will not be quality tomorrow. And so if you have a certain, let's say you have a phone today, in some years to come, there will be other phones, other brands or types of phone, probably even the same brand, an improvement on that same brand, that will come with features that what you have now would not have, and you would consider what you have now as not of good quality. But if the product has the ability to consistently meet over time, it continuously meets that demand or that expectation, or even exceeds it of the customer, and then we can consider the item as what's it called, of good quality. So I really love this definition, and so I personally chose it for it. You can look it up in the recommended text that I gave. Now let's look at quality from the customer's perspective, and quality from, we would also look at it from the producer's perspective, and then we can judge who actually determines what is quality. Now, it says that the customers know that certain companies produce better quality products than others, and they buy accordingly. And I think this is obvious. Sometimes you buy certain products not because it's for some reason, because there's a certain goodwill about it, and you think that, yeah, I think this will give me some value for my money, and so I prefer this one. If you look at electronics, there are certain product brands that once their names are mentioned, obviously, everyone, it's a good brand, it's a reliable brand. It's because of the quality. Now, it says that it is therefore important to consider, or it's that a firm to consider how the customer actually defines quality. So if customers buy according to what you churn out, based on the quality of the product, then it's obvious that it's apparent that organizations or individuals or business persons must understand quality from the perspective of their customers. Now, customers have different quality expectations since they have different product needs, and then that's obvious. So a commonly used definition is fitness for its intended use. Once whatever you're giving to the customer does what it's supposed to do, or does exactly, if we are lucky, even goes beyond doing what exactly the customer wants, then customer will be happy. And so generally we commonly define quality from the customer's perspective as the fitness for use, or fitness for the product's intended use. Now, what are some dimensions of quality? What are some of the things that a customer would see, or an individual would assess of a product and judge that this product is of good quality? Now, we can see this from tangible perspectives and then intangible perspectives. So what I mean by manufactured items, and then what we call service-oriented items as well. So for services, there are those ones that we can touch or feel, we only experience them. And so we will look at those ones. But let's look at the case of manufactured items. Performance. Now, just when we talk of performance, is the basic operating characteristic of a product. Now, so for instance, if I have a car, now, is my car fuel efficient? How fast does the car go? How does the car perform on fuel consumption? All these are things that someone could judge and say. And so, based on that, a customer would prefer a car with a 1.6 capacity to something that is 3.6, depending on that customer. So if performance is higher in that case, but it's I must draw this caveat that all these dimensions are customer specific. Someone would want a car that has a 5.0 engine capacity that consumes so much fuel and pegs performance against some other thing. Okay. Now, features, the extra items added to the basic features of a car, of a product. Let's say the leather seat, the stereo, and all those things. Someone looks at that and judges that, well, I like that. That makes my product something of good quality. Reliability. Now, how long does a product work or operate before it breaks down? That conformance, the degree to which the product meets the established standards, the weight, the height, the size, all these things. They are dimensions that we use to assess whether a product is supposed to. Now, if I have a laptop and I want, let's say, 15 centimeters screen, that's if you have one, and 15 inches screen, and it turns out to be 16 inches, that will not be of good quality to me, or probably the weight. Okay, now serviceability, how easy to get repairs of the product, aesthetics, the general look and feel of the product, safety, environmental safety and other issues. And then other perceptions like subjective perception based on brand name, advertising and stuff. Typically, I love this example because it's kind of something, I'm not doing an advertisement, but generally the average Ghanaian has the idea that if you go to Melcom, things are cheaper. And if you go to some other places, things are quite expensive. Why? Those are some subjective perceptions. Once you hear the brand name Melcom, you think of cheaper prices and items. But now there are other brands as well. You go to Mr. Price and ShopRite and all that. So these are all other perceptions that we judge quality on, considering some product. Now, in the case of services, we'd also look at timeliness. Who loves to wait long and long and long and long for a service? Nobody loves that, trust me. Waiting is horrible. You go to the hospital, you have to wait for a long time. You go to restaurants, you're so hungry and you got to wait so long for your food. Nobody loves that. And so if the service is offered in a timely manner, you're happy. You go to say that the service is okay. You want to go cash money from the bank and you got to join long queues. Nobody loves that. Completeness, providing all that the customer has asked for. You don't provide a service and you keep going back and forth. You go buy an item and they find out, oh, there's no manual in the item. You need to go back and go get it. You consider a lot of stuff. Courtesy, how customers are treated by employees. You walk into the front desk and an employee is not even willing to look in your face. He or she is busy checking out the phone and still talking to you. Some people consider that as rude, but people consider that to determine whether the product is or that service is of good quality. You need to smile and give the customer the impression he or she has your total attention. Now, accessibility and convenience, ease of obtaining the service, how easy it is to access whatever the service it is. And then accuracy, the service performed right every time. Get it? Now, when we move forward, we understand a certain caveat in quality. In quality management, we have a certain rule which says, get it right the first time. Get it right the first time. So we need to put in every measure, make sure that whatever service, whatever contact we're having with the customer, we get it right. Now, this issue of accuracy is very pertinent in the case of services because services are produced and consumed at the same time. Now, you see, if I give a faulty product to a customer, the chances are that the customer could return that product to me and I could take it, either give you a new one, a better one, or probably, if I can replace it, I could repair it for you. But in the case of a service, once the service is offered, you can take it back. And so you need to always get it right all the time. get it right all the time. Now, responsiveness, how well the company reacts to usual situations. And, this is in the case, when something out of the usual happens, how well does the organization manage the situation? That is what we mean by responsiveness. And so regarding services, we look at these, characteristics and we judge whether a service is of good quality or not. And then, in fact, there are other ones. It depends on the service organization. If you take a hospital, I'm pretty sure, or a restaurant, I for one will consider cleanliness, isn't it? And so, there are a lot of characteristics, but this is just to set the conversation going. We'll get more of this in our handout and then the recommended text as well. Okay, so one other thing. So we've seen these ideas, all that we've seen, dimensions of quality, the definitions of quality, have been seen from the customer's perspective. Now, when the producer also wants to determine whether something is of good quality, the producer sees quality with regard to the extent to which the product or the service conforms with the specifications. So we call this the quality of conformance. Now, if I want to make a product, let's say mineral water, bottled mineral water, I want the bottle to look in a certain way. It should have a certain shape, a certain height, a certain diameter, a certain volume. Now, if we have all these standards set, and then our final product comes out and meets these items, then the producer will say, my product is of good quality. But if there are deviations, when I mean deviations, woeful deviations, then that product will not be of good quality. So to the producer, the quality of conformance determines his definition of quality. Now, what are some of the factors that can affect quality of conformance? The design of the process. If you have a very haphazard design, you're definitely going to come out with a product that will not meet your specification. Now, performance level of machines and equipment and technology. If you have obsolete technology and you have a complicated design, you hardly meet it. If your machines are not performing well, maybe due to lack of maintenance or something, obviously chances are that your product is not going to be meeting specifications. If you use bad materials the input, if you use bad input, we saw this in the first video, that you have a bad input, chances are that you're going to get a bad output. So if your materials are good, your product, chances are that will conform. Training and supervision. If your labor or your employees are well trained, they're that skilled, yes, it is obvious that whatever comes out will meet specifications. And if supervision is also good to ensure that everything is moving according to how it is planned, then yes, your product has higher chances of conforming. But otherwise, it would not be the case. Now, degree to which statistical quality control techniques are used. Now, statistical quality control techniques are just methods or tools that we use to assess quality performance when the process is ongoing. See, so as production is ongoing, you want to check whether our process is within specification, is operating within the parameters or the boundaries that we have set. Now, if you use statistical quality control techniques to the latter, then chances are that you have very high conformance levels. But if you do not assess production, you don't know what is going on in your process, well, your product will come out, and before that's when you end up noticing that, well, we produce something wrong, and that will come at extra cost. Now, key personnel to achieving conformance to specification will be the engineering staff, the supervisors, the managers, and then the employees. So these people, you really need to take them into consideration. Your engineering staff, they do with the design, the blueprint and everything. Supervisors and managers need to make sure that whatever has been designed is being followed to the letter. And then the employees. So if we say these people are key to the performance, then they come together to they play a serious part of what we call a quality management system. Now, what we want to say is to ensure that you're meeting quality standards or specifications, there must be an order in which you ensure quality. Remember, we saw what we call production systems, how the system under which production is undertaken. in an organization. Now, how do you also ensure that there is a harnessed or a coherent system in which we ensure quality? So we say that companies need to make sure that products and services have the quality that they have been designed for. And this requires companies to develop a strategy to achieve quality throughout the organization. And so when we talk of a quality system, we're just talking about the approach, how we're going to ensure quality throughout the organization. Now, so we have people who've come out with techniques or tools and approaches to ensuring this. We have Walter Stewart, who came out with the control charts and how we apply control charts to the letter to ensure that our systems, our production is always within the production specifications. Edward Deming, he came out with the plan, do, check, and act, what we call the PDCA cycle. And also his 14 point for ensuring quality. Joseph Juran, he came out with also the project as a means of quality improvement, ensuring that whatever production is being undertaken is considered as a project and is treated uniquely in every instance that production is being undertaken. Now, we'll consider these in depth in subsequent lessons for us to see. Now, so in ensuring quality or in any quality system, you must make sure that you assess quality. You can never improve on something you can measure. But once you can measure, you can always set a matrix. You can always assess your levels of performance and you can improve on it. There are quite a number of quality tools, but we have some very popular ones in quality literature, which we call the Magnificent Seven. And they include the check sheets, the Pareto charts, the histograms and bar charts, the process flow charts, scatter diagrams, and then statistical process control techniques, and then the cause and effect diagrams. Now, put them to, they are 7 in number, and we use them concurrently. You can use one and it helps you to develop the other, and very awesome. We'll see them into detail in subsequent videos. So, thank you. We'll end it here.